Smokey. Smokey. Hey, Smokey. Welcome to another edition of Vintage Drum Restoration Garage. And this is something I picked up, I think about a month and a half ago or so, and I've been slowly, well, I've been too busy to restore it, and I've been picking up a few parts for it that were not original. So why did I buy this drum set? Well, the first thing I saw when I saw this drum set was this floor tom, and that's a 14 by 14 Cleveland era. This is a Covington set, and I'm a nut for 14-inch floor toms. And there's the 12, and it came with a 20. It's all drilled up. It came with the power tone snare drum, and it also came with a 16-inch floor tom and a 13 tom. So this is how the guy mounted the bass drum. He cobbled this thing together. This is his mount that he came up with. I guess he mounted it in this existing one here. And it's a shame what he did, but at least he didn't do anything else. So these would have been the original holes here. This would not be original. And I don't know if that would be, maybe that's where they put the cymbal arm. It kind of looks like it. But you know, it's look at, they put a Gretsch key holder in there in the middle. It's a shame what they did to this bass drum, but at least they didn't do anything crazy and put Yamaha or Big R mounts on it and ruin the 12 and do other things. But these drums are basically, this is the way I got them. Came with these hoops. I think these heads I dug out of my collection. I think it had this bass drum head on it, which I then a week later went and ordered a brand new head for it because I don't like porting my bass drum head. So I got this from Pro Drum, which is, it's a beautiful head and everything, but oh well, let me continue with the story here. The story is that I couldn't live with this bass drum the way it was, so I started looking around on eBay, and lo and behold, there was a 20-inch bass drum for sale on eBay in a all original still, but it was missing some of the mounts on it, but the original holes. And so it was a bidding process. And the good thing is that the drum was right here in Phoenix where I live. So I put my best bid in, and I won the bass drum. So I'll put you over here, and here's the bass drum I won. It's ginger ale. I'm going to sand it out. I'll try to get a little bit of this yellow out of it, you know, and I'll buff it out. You can see It did not have the leg mounts, but this one has all the leg mounts. It didn't have this, what do they call that again? I always I'm not a Rogers guy, so I don't really know. Knobby. They call that the knobby, and that is the, whatever. I can't remember the names of this stuff. I'll remember the collet plate. That's what it is. So I had these. I have a little bit of Rogers stuff. And I had this, and so this 20 came with these hoops, which the guy said he didn't know if they were original, but they look like they are. And so I go over to the guy's house, and he's turned into one of my good friends now here in Phoenix. His name is it doesn't matter what his name is. Paul is his name, but turns out he's been a Rogers nut for years and years. And I asked him about an L-arm. And he had the L-arm, man. I mean, he charged me for it. But I had to have that L-arm. Look at that's the original L-arm that goes with it. It's in great shape. Thank you, Paul. I really appreciate that. And I appreciate your friendship. It's amazing how many cool people you can meet in this drum trade. And I happen to have this laying around in my parts. So there you go. This drum came with all of the, I guess all the parts are in here. I didn't take them out. It's got a few other things. It's got some inlay here for me, and part of a, whatever you call that again, the knobby plate. Also, all the T-rods and claws are here. They're probably in better shape than the ones I got. It's quite a bit more yellow than this one, but I think I'm a pretty good buffer, and I think I might be able to get a lot of that out. He said he wasn't sure if this thing had been repainted. I don't really think it was, but I'm going to leave it alone. So it's a beautiful shell, great bearing edges, everything's great on this drum set. Right, so getting back to this drum set details, my friend Paul had this bass drum head. Look at that. Is that gorgeous or what? I'm just really blown away. He gave me a really good deal on it. Look at that. That's a really rare bass drum head with the hollow logo. I'm really blown away. Once again, thank you, Paul. So I've got that, and I've got some original heads for the 12. Got original heads for the 16. I don't have any 14s. All right, what else? All right, the numbers are really good. These are 4-digit. Here's the 12. These are early drums. Same thing on the 14. It's got the 4-digit. Now on the snare drum, I can't remember what I did with that. The snare drum did not have this plate on it when I got it, and I happened to have this knobby plate, and I wanted to put it in there, but I'm not so sure this came with this. I know they made them that way, but just by the look of the way the holes are in here, I think I could show you a little better. Just by the look of the damage around the hole, it doesn't look right. I mean, it could be, but I'm not sure. Now this one here is I think this is a 4-digit too. Can't really tell. Let me see here. Yeah, it's This is a really early one, 8528, so that's cool. Maybe you can see it now. See, there's some damage around that middle hole. I think what they had was they might have had a knobby on there and someone drilled that center hole out. I don't know. It's just my guess. Regardless, it's the original drum that came with the set. The set, I'll bet you, came with this 20, 12, 14, and the snare drum. This 13 is of no use to me. I don't like it. I don't like 13s. I like them with the 22, 16 configuration, but not with this setup. So this, and plus this is a Fullerton era, speckle, piece of crap. I just put that out there for the video. I don't even want to look at it. And now this one here is a little bit earlier, a little bit later, I guess, because it's got 5 digits, but it's still a Cleveland era, so it's pretty cool. I'm not one for 2 floor toms, but I really don't want to split them up, and it's in nice shape. So yeah, I'm gonna stick with that. I'm gonna go with the a 6-piece, which will be really cool. With that bass drum over there. The throw off looks good on it. My friend Anthony Amadeo, I was talking to him about this set, and he said he'd set me up with some rods and different things that I need. I may have those already. I think Paul, my friend here, has some extra rods. See, they mixed up the rods. They got that kind of rod, and then you got the flat side rods. And I've got to have the flat. Guys, this is Anthony Amadeo's website, his YouTube page. You can check out some of his great work. And he's all about Rogers. He's a great player. He's a historian. And just a cool guy to watch. And so check him out. And when I say these drums are old or early ones, I don't mean real early. I think Anthony dated these about 66, 67. So I'm saying early by longevity, meaning they're within the Covington era, I guess I should say. Just wanted to clear that up. I was able to soak this label out of these bass drums. I've got the other piece here. Now this is the one that goes on the drum. This one originally came on the good bass drum without any holes. So I soaked it off first, and as a trial run. And it didn't come off as easy, but the one that I want to apply to the good bass drum, which was on the drilled one, it came out really nice. So I'm going to be able to swap these, these labels out of them. And this is the good bass drum. So that's where the tag went. You can see that square. This is the good bass drum. And over here, we have this other bass drum that's, Swiss cheese. And you can see where the label was. So I'll be able to put that on there. And, well, for you purists, I guess that's not great. But I can't live with a drum that's got Swiss cheese holes all over the top of it. It looks terrible. I can't live with that. That's not my scene, so, all right, thought I'd clear that up. What I'm doing to this shell is I'm going over the each panel with the palm sander with 320 grit paper all through the whole thing, kind of aggressively, okay? Then I wet sand it with 400 with the block. I block wet sand it with 400. Then I take it over to the buffer and I buff the whole thing out. Yeah, actually what I'm doing now is I'm finding that I do the palm sander with 320, and then I go ahead and wet sand with 400. Then I go up to 500 wet sanding, and that's just about with a block. And then I take it over to the buffer and I buff it out with a very heavy grit compound with this kind of a pad. And then I can use a medium grit after that and a swirl remover after that. It's kind of a lengthy process. You have to change the pads after a while. This is the smoother pad for the final finish. Okay, I've done this panel here. I'll show you how I did it, and then I'll just quickly move this so you can see the difference in finish. So it's come up a good three shades maybe or so. It's not going to match these other drums, I don't think. I mean, you can only go so low on this. So that's the progress so far. I got about half of this shell done, and you can see it's coming along pretty good. We're getting a lot of that yellow brown stuff out. These deeper browns, not sure, that's from rust in the nails and rust on the parts, I suppose. I'm not sure, but you can definitely see the contrast there, and it's got a nice gleam to it. Just want to mention that this finish on these Rogers drums from, I guess, this era is this broken glass look. It's not the six-sided pieces in there. And if you feel the texture of it, it's very coarse on the outside and doesn't allow for a shine to it. Now, after I do what I'm doing to this drum, and mainly I'm doing it to get some of the yellow out of it to bring it back to its original color as much as I can, what it's doing is smoothing the top coat off and giving it a real shine. If you look at these drums over here, you'll see you don't see a shine to them. And like Gretsch drums, you get a nice shine to them. Camco, it's a different company they were getting their pearls from. Ludwig, you had a nice shine to them. I guess this is one of the companies that used this rough coat on the outside. So I guess there's two advantages if you like a shiny surface like I do. Okay, I've given this drum its final buff. It's looking pretty close to the other ones. I don't know. I don't have them right next to each other. Is it perfect? By no means. It's not perfect. But I think it's a lot better than it was. So now I'm going to show you. I've given it a wax. You can see the shine on it. It's quite nice. What I do to get all the buff out of the buffing compound out of the holes, I just take this little bristle brush, bottle brush, whatever you call it, and just go in there and clean things up, each one. And then I've got a nice clean hole to install my parts in. Get all that cakey mess out of there. I've been working feverishly to get these hoops all sanded and filled. I got Bondo in the spot where the deeper wounds are. They're actually pretty decent hoops. I repaired the inlay and stapled it. Had to add some new inlay. New old inlay, I should say. Anyway, these are primed, and I'm going to sand them, and then I'll prime them again, see where we're at, fill them again, and then start shooting them with some black. Then I'm going to start working on this 14-inch floor tone. This is what they look like after the Bondo has been sanded off of them. They're getting a lot smoother. I'm going to work on them a little bit more. There's some spots, nicks in them still. I want to get these edges a lot better. But they're coming right along. They're looking really good. Well, pretty good. So I'm going to put some spot putty in the small dings, and then I'll wait for that to dry and sand them down and prime them again. And then I'll look for any other problems. I want these things as perfect as possible. Just want to point out that you get these spots or these spaces between the inlay and the hoop, get clogged up, and I'm taking a little putty knife and going around and cleaning those out. These are the glasses I don't know, I guess they're magnifiers I wear when I'm doing my final finish on this hoop. That way I can see all the little problems that I can't see otherwise with my 68-year-old eyes. That might help. And here's the spot putty I use. This is automotive spot putty. And works pretty good. Spread it with this here piece of metal. Hey guys, just want to take a moment and ask you if you'll subscribe to my channel. It just helps me know that you guys are interested in what I'm putting out here. Make sure you check and see if you've subscribed, because sometimes they knock people off at the subscription. And then also, if you can give me a thumbs up or comment, it just helps the channel grow, if it's gonna grow. It's kind of a limited subject matter. It's never going to be a huge success or anything. I'm not really trying to do that. I'm just trying to help others. But if you could give it a thumbs up, and I answer every one of your comments if I see them. Hopefully I do, but not all the time do I see them. But in general I do. So give me a thumbs up and comment and subscribe if you will. So after much preparation, I think I've got these hoops exactly where I want them to be. This is after the last coat of primer, and I don't see any dings left in them, in the edges or anything, so I'm ready to go ahead and spray these. I've got the other one here. I've sanded them with 400 lightly, and I've cleaned them with this grease and wax remover. That way you get a good grip on the paint. I'm going to try something different today. I don't know if I'm going to be happy with it, but I'm going to go ahead and spray this gloss black. This is an oil base, Rust-Oleum. I've seen guys use this on metal on YouTube, and it seems to be pretty good. It says you need to, if you need to thin it, use mineral spirits or acetone. I'll probably use acetone. And we'll see where this gets us. I'm a little reluctant, but I'm always game for a new product. I just start with a really light tack coat. As you can see, it's just a really light tack coat on there, and you just want to get something to get the paint to grip. I always start painting from the back side first, because once I turn these over to get my finished coat, I don't care if it maybe has a few blemishes. Let's see how dry this stuff is. You know, it's already pretty dry to the touch. I'm surprised, being oil base. You ask, why am I using this Rust-Oleum and spraying it out of my gun? Well, it's more cost effective, and I actually think it gives a a heavier coat and a better shine. And you know how much it is to buy these cans of rattle cans. It's like $7-8 a can. Here we go, second coat. I'm going to let these dry for, I don't know, 20 minutes maybe, and I'll have a look at them and see where I'm going to go with them next. Okay, we're moving right along here. I've got the front side of the lugs all installed. I got my nameplate all on there. That looks good. I've got my paper label glued in. And now I'm installing one of the leg brackets. I've cleaned all the threads really good. And may I suggest you do one thing when you're doing this. Where's one of those collets? Let me show you what I do to clean these threads on this collet plate. I've got this little brush here. It's on a drill, and I put it inside the collet plate, and I clean out all those threads real good. See? You might want to get one of those. That it cleans those threads out real good, and they're going to work really good. After that, you put a nice coat of grease or some oil in there, and they're going to work really good. Well, it's been about at least 5 days since I've painted these hoops, and I'm telling you, I am sold on this paint. I was really reluctant to even paint these with this paint. But I'll tell you, it really goes on beautifully. And it's really cost effective too. It sprays well. It goes on with a nice thick coat without running all over the place. Here it is, this Rust-Oleum oil-based coating. I like this stuff. I was digging through my collection of felt strips, and I keep these around. I've probably taken these off of bass drums in the past, and this looks like something someone, went to a fabric shop and got, but it's nice and thick. It's real felt, and you can see they cut it themselves. So this one I cut square and nice even cuts, and it measures, let's see, what does it measure? Probably 2 inches. So 2 inches, and then the ends I cut kind of like the factory did on an angle. So when they're on the bass drum, it kind of looks like this rather than squared off. It looks squared off, I guess you could say. So I'm going to install these right now. And there it is, a thing of beauty. Hoops look really nice, if I do say so myself.
Hi, Ellie. Ellie. Who's Ellie? Ellie.
For those of you who like the felt strips on your bass drum, what I do is I put them and I tape them onto the drum just where I want them. That way when I put my head on, I can have them right where I want them. Because, fiddling around trying to get them on the drum with the head is sometimes difficult. Getting the head right where you want it, the logo, all that. So I find that if you tape it on there, just temporarily, until you get the head on and maybe 1 or 2 rods, then it goes a little bit smoother, and then I just take the tape off. Yeah, so on the batter side, I've got this original Rogers head that my friend Paul laid on me. Thank you, Paul. I appreciate that. Looks great on the drum. I've got it just baggy right now, and so when I put my strip on, I've got the tape removed, and see, that's why I cut the angle so they're kind of squared off with the lugs once they're done, and then I can just pull on them and adjust them. It seems like it's pretty tight right now. I'm just adjusting it right now. Yeah, it's nice and tight up against the head, so I'm ready to tension the T-rods. Well, we're on to the centerpiece of this drum set, the 14x14 floor tom, and I've removed the script logo. Where was that? Somewhere here. Can't really see where it was, but anyway, you see it's got this very coarse outside finish on it, and it's not quite as yellow as that bass drum, so I'm going to do a different process. And here's one panel that I've done just now, and you can see it's very smooth, and it's still got some yellow to it. I haven't matched them up with the bass drum and the floor tom together, but I think it's probably as close as I'll get. So this process, I'm using only wet sanding. I'm using a pad, a block, and this is 500 here. And using 400 first, wet sand, and then I go to the 500, then I go to the buffer. And then before you install your badge, I take the smallest drill bit I have and I make sure I ream these holes out a little bit, get all the junk out of there. And then my nails go in there easily. And it makes for a nicer job. I'm going to install brand new nails in there, in these 3 holes. Well, it's time to put the old script logo on. I've got brand new nails. I've cleaned the holes and inserted the nails, and I thought I'd let you know how I'm doing that. I'm trying to follow the same. See the indentation in the wood? I want those nails to bend right in those indentations. I won't do that right on camera. It's just too hard to film, but I'll show you the after effect. When you're putting these, when you're bending these nails over from the inside, the tendency is for those nails to pop out. So what I'm doing here is I'm putting another hammer on that nail, or just any kind of metal, and I'm going ahead and bending them the way I want, with that over the head of the nail. And that's the way it looks after I'm done. How do you like my messy workspace? Isn't that great? Clean workspace is a sign of a sick mind. Yeah, I'm going to be working on this 12 now. Got 14 all done. Starting to take it apart. So I'll be buffing it out next. I got this 12 all together. Looking really nice. One thing I'd like to suggest to you guys is that I'm putting a coat of wheel bearing grease on these threads on this collet plate, inside and out, after cleaning them thoroughly. And I find that they're working really smooth after that. I think they're going to tighten real well. I'm working on this power tone snare drum. And when I got this drum, this is the way I got it. I didn't get it with the plate on there, the collet. And I noticed right away that it had this imperfection, this extra sort of a hole. I just refused to believe Rogers would do something like that, but I suppose anything's possible. And then you got this little, I don't know, kind of pinhole here. And you know, you got this the wood breaking away here on the inside. I don't know if they would have left that like that or not. I don't know. So that's what we're dealing with right now. Well, good morning to you. And I have installed the bottom head on this power tone. And I haven't really tuned it or anything, but I'm looking for some wires, and I actually found a set of Rogers wires, and I was looking at them and thinking, are these Dynasonic wires? These are 20 strand. So I had this Dynasonic snare drum sitting around here, and it has the original wires on it, and I count 18 on these, and see the edges are like cut off a little bit here. They don't look exactly like them, but they're the same length, and these have that center hole. I guess you could put these on the frame of a Dynasonic. But I think I'm just going to go ahead and try these Rogers snares. I thought that would deck this drum out a little bit. I was talking with Anthony Amadeo the other night, and I was asking him about this configuration here, and he thinks that this is not factory. So I think so too. I mean, they wouldn't leave this kind of damage here. I don't like it, but there's nothing I can do about it. And I guess he was saying that in about 1964 they stopped putting this collet plate on the snare drums, according to his knowledge. And this drum appears to him to be about 65. You know, these 4-digit serial numbers. So, and the 2012-14 matching snare drum all have the 4-digit serial numbers on this set. So we're just going to keep working away on this, and it's turning out pretty good. I've taken the 16-inch floor tom apart, but I haven't touched it for a very good reason. I'm still not sure what I'm going to do with this here, and this is the reason I have not taken it apart. This drum here is a 14 by 14 Cleveland era Covington floor tom that showed up on eBay, and I made an offer, and the guy accepted it. and I didn't need the drum, but for the price I couldn't pass it up either. It has some imperfections, but I'm not sure I can live with a 16-inch floor tom. I'm just not sure what I'm going to do, and I guess is what I'm saying. This drum, this is the only imperfection I can find. That seam looks a little crooked. I don't know what. Maybe this was a bad day at the factory, or it puckered up, or I'm not sure. I'm not sure what happened here. This doesn't look like any fault of mishandling or anything. This just looks like something that's a stress crack of some kind happening to this floor tom. It's a beautiful floor tom. It's not going to affect the shell. I see right here the top hoop is not original, and a lot of the rods are not. He said one of the floor tom leg brackets is spinning, and here it is. You can see it's crooked. And there's a few, imperfections in it. This guy was selling this floor tom separate from an 18-inch bass drum shell and a 12-inch tom. Now the 18-inch bass drum shell was a Covington as well, and I would have been all over it, except that it had major holes in it. Someone had changed the mount. I just don't want to deal with that kind of stuff. I would never be happy with it. So, oh, here's Ethel. Here she comes. Ethel's going to be going to a tortoise sanctuary sometime soon. My wife has arranged that. We've kept Ethel for, I don't know, it looks like about maybe 11, 12 years. And she's just getting too big. So it's my wife's tortoise, so she can do what she wants, but it's just becoming too big of a problem here. She can barely get by. There's her little house over there. So that'll be a sad day. So that's what's going on with this drum. I just thought I'd picture it before I started taking it apart. It's a really beautiful drum, other than the cosmetic feature there. Let me take a few minutes and take a few parts apart, and we'll film the inside. Got the heads off this. It looks like the bearing edges are really nice. That's good. It's a Cleveland drum. Right around the same time as this 52. This is 59. And I was talking to Anthony the other day, and I ran these numbers by him, and he said 1965 for this floor tom, according to his records. So, this drum would actually go well with those other drums. Here's the thing. Last week, this floor tom I noticed come up on the Rogers site on eBay, and I think he wanted $5.99, which on any day of the week, that's a good deal. Even with the problems on it, it's still a good deal for 14. But plus he had or best offer, and so I thought, oh man, maybe I'll make an offer. Well, I had to slap myself and say, hey, look, no more drums, all right? Just cool out. So I didn't do anything that evening, and went to bed and forgot all about it, sort of. And I woke up the next morning and went onto the Rogers site on eBay, and this drum was still sitting there. I thought, wow, why would someone pay you know, $5.99 for it. So I still thought I don't need another drum. And I went for my walk that morning and came back and thought, you know, I'll make him a ridiculous offer. And I made it sort of a ridiculous offer, and I couldn't believe it, but it came back that the guy took my offer, and so that's why I own this drum. I didn't really need it, but okay, that top hoop on this drum is a nickel over brass. It's probably a Ludwig, it looks like. So that's kind of a good thing. Nickel over brass. I'll have to find these Rogers 14-inch floor tom hoops or snare drum power tone hoops are really hard to find. I'm learning. Anyway, it's got quite a dark complexion compared to this other drum. If you can see the difference. It would match that bass drum I've got that I did all the work to. Pretty good. The hardware on it looks pretty good, really. I don't know. We'll see what this is all about. I'm gonna take it all apart. I don't know what I'm doing, but something inside makes me think I'd almost rather have two 14s than a 14-16. But then on the other hand, I don't know. I don't really need two floor toms, but I could find a 20 and a 12 and put those together with this. I don't know. At this point, it's just one of these deals where I thought I'd grab it. Okay, so it looks like he has 7 correct rods. I'm not familiar with these rods at all. They could be Rogers. I'm not sure. There's 7 of those as well. And then we have some oddballs. This is probably a Ludwig, and this could be a Ludwig too. I'm not sure. Wrong washer. So that's what we've got here. Oh, and it came with the correct legs too. These 14-inch floor toms from Rogers, believe it or not, had 20-inch floor tom legs. I think I've gone over that with you. Here's the other 20s. Here's a set of 17s, and here's another set of 20s. So I told you already that I don't use big long legs, but I'll have to keep those with these floor toms because they're extremely rare from what I'm gathering. I guess so. There's always 17-inch floor tom legs online for sale, but 20s not so much. So that was an added bonus. The muffler isn't so wonderful. It's all there. Let's try to take this tape off here and see what the heck we've got. Well, I don't know what he was doing here. I don't know. Seems to be okay to me. I'm not sure. I'll have to take it apart. The felt seems a little... Maybe he was trying to get rid of the rattle. I don't know what he was doing. Got some more tape in there. Don't know what that's all about. Got some scratches on the inside of the drum, but overall looks really pretty presentable. Well, here's that knobby that I guess someone repaired. It looks to me like I don't see any heat. I'm not sure what they did. They ground the heck out of it, and it's leaning. It's not on there correctly. It's leaning one way or the other. I can repair this. Oh, I'm going to repair it. I guess this is what it should look like right here from the factory. But like Anthony was saying, these are only pressed on there and they can spin. So the other one looks to be a little bit loose too, so I'll have to mess around with those. Well, you can see how much fade there is in this drum. Much more so than the 16. You can kind of get an idea of just how faded this drum is. It's not so much faded, but it's kind of ginger ale, as they say. I can get a lot of that out, and I most likely will. I mean, I can't leave it like this. But it takes away the texture of the this orange peel sort of a thing they have on here, and I don't know if that's going to ruin the. Well, I don't know if it's going to ruin it, but maybe that's not appealing to somebody else. It's just the way I go about it. I have to sand them, and sanding them means you flatten them out. So really, it's a beautiful shell. Like I said, I didn't need this drum, but when it rains, it pours. And I guess it's just my time right now for this Rogers stuff, which I've never really sought out or even considered. But I never thought bad of Rogers. I just didn't really. I've always been a Gretsch Camco kind of guy, and I guess to some extent Sonor, and I don't know what other. Slingerland I like. Ludwig a little bit. So there's that. This drum will definitely come right along. It's a beautiful drum. Well, here they are in all their glory. I actually think that they match up really quite well. A few bumps and bruises like here. But overall, very, very nice. Quite pleased with them. I can't wait to get them in my practice room and play on them. Should be fun. Sorry about the shadows here. Trying to get them in the morning sun here so you can see the detail. Got Rogers heads on the 12. Rogers on the bass drum. The snare drum has the Rogers wires on it. Air drum turned out real nice. I've got the short legs on the floor tom. I just prefer those. Appreciate you joining me for another adventure in Vintage Drum Restoration Garage. Hope you enjoyed this episode. These drums are now going in my practice room and going to get some use and some love and enjoy the sounds. You can see the bass drum's just a little bit, one shade yellower, which is a heck of a lot better than it was. I've got the arm here and the mount. I picked up these school Rogers memorabilia. Thought I'd put those with that. And like I said, friends, I'm not sure what's going on with these two drums here. The 16, came with a set. I'm not going to touch it until I decide what I want to do. And then the 14, I'm not going to do anything with it yet either. And so you can see how yellowed it is. I'll just compare it here and you can see the difference. But that'll come out. Quite a bit of it will come out. And so if you guys don't mind, give me a thumbs up. Comment. Always comment. I'm pretty good at getting back to you folks, and I enjoy the conversation and friendship. Okay? So that's it for now, and until the next time we meet, take care now.